Test cricket.
Yes.
It's getting selected for Australia. Massive thing. And
Race.
Okay, I'm going to tell you something.
I need
Andrew.
a break, man. I'm really exhausted, man.
No, don't, Paul. Come on.
I could go on,
second
so-
effort.
I'll
Second
keep going.
effort.
it's all about the centimetres.
Andrew, let me tell you. You play grade cricket. It's easier to play state cricket than grade cricket. It's easier to play test match cricket than it is state cricket. As if you're a test player and you go back to grade cricket, and this is why they won't go back to grade cricket now, is because the guy that's playing first grade is only this much different to you. And he'll hang in there and he'll wear you down, and your mates are all expecting you to be doing superhuman things. So you push yourself more than you should. But when you get up, as you go up the ladder, you've got better fieldsmen. You've got batsmen who know what they're doing.
Better conditions, better wickets.
You've got a physio.
This is true.
And, you know...
True, mate. I have often said, Len, I'd come back from Shield cricket or Test cricket, play grade cricket, and John O. Johnson, opening the batting for someone, wanted to bat all day against me or him and get 100 or an 80 to say, I fucking got 80 against Mike Whitney today and Len Pascoe. And that's a feather in their cap, and they want to do that. So the selectors go, wow, he must have played really, really well. And we'd have to go and bowl our 20 overs on a Saturday in grade cricket. Not 5.
Great analogy. Fantastic.
Not 5.
Yep.
And the same...
Would John O. Johnson give it to you? What would he say to you?
Nah, he's... Yeah.
He'd be at the
I'll
pub
have
still.
to ask him.
He'd
I'll
be at
have
the
to
pub
ask
at
him.
Matraville still.
But the batsmen too. If you spoke to Stephen Moore or Tub Taylor and say, mate, I played against fucking Penrith last week and they just pinned me up against the side screen all day because that young bowler wants to knock over Tub Taylor, captain of Australia and New South Wales, to say, go home and say fucking knocked over Mark Taylor today in a grade game. So it was very, very tough. Very tough.
Your first test wicket was Tony Grieg, is that correct?
Yeah.
And how did that happen?
Century crusher.
Wow.
The old bouncer Yorker, that did it.
Give him a serve when he walked off as well. Or what?
I seen Tomo do it, and I thought, if Tomo can do it, I can. You know, I've seen him enough times. I'll do the same.
Why didn't more people knock him over with the sand shoe crusher, Len? That was his outshot, wasn't it?
Was it?
Because he was 6'8".
Yeah.
And he actually was one of the first guys to hold the bat up like this in the air.
Yeah.
Everybody else tapped it on the
I
ground.
really
but he
like.
held it up.
I like Greggy. He's one of the. You know, we're really fortunate. You know, I was watching a YouTube video of Viv Richards, one of the greatest batsmen I think since Bradman, without doubt. And I co-starred with him on YouTube. I'm the one getting the sixes belted off.
I watched that this morning as part of my research. Yeah, I saw that.
And I often see Viv on Facebook, and they got a picture of him here and there, and I think to myself, did I really get the opportunity to bowl to him? And up in the stand was, Kerry Packer looking, Mick Jagger was looking at me bowling to Tony
Was that
Grieg.
Adelaide?
It's really weird.
Len, I think shit like that too. Did I play against that guy and I met so-and-so at the ground that day?
Yeah.
And so-and-so was there as well. I know it's surreal, isn't it?
It's like the third person.
It is.
Talking about Viv Richards, is that the same one, Adelaide Oval? And I think the first couple of balls you tried to bounce him and there were no balls. Was that the one?
Look, I'm going to dispel some.
Please do something, mate.
Number one, Viv never got into my head. He never got into my head.
He got into a few bowlers' heads, mate.
And I never took a backward step to Viv.
What would he say to you? Would he talk to you out there? Or
No,
would
he just belt shit out of you.
Yeah.
The way he batted, he'd destroy you not only as a bowler, but destroy you as a person, because it's embarrassing to get hit for 6 off your best ball,
Your
and then
best
get
and
hit for
fastest
6
ball
again.
just plonked it over your head, yeah.
So I never took a backward. Now, I always thought if I only had one of those bombs go off and hit him on the melon, he's going to have a different respect. He's going to have the roller skates on his feet, and let's see how good he is then.
And?
But
what happened?
I never got close. Yeah,
Is that good?
So in Adelaide, I thought, I'm sick and tired of you, bloody 1 foot across the off stump, bang, 4 through mid-wicket.
So you retired.
So then I thought, well, bugger, you've just got in, only got to get 1 through, and I nearly did it a couple of times. He just off the peak of his hat, and he chew his gum and he'd look at me, and the umpire would say, that'll be enough, and he'd, let him go, he says, I want them. And so made it good theatre. But don't forget that I was exponent of World Championship Wrestling.
Yes.
And I loved all that, the Rock and all those things.
Did you try and sledge him, or you stayed away from that, knowing that he might make it
No,
better?
you don't sledge him.
No.
Why would you sledge him?
Alan Border used to say when we played against him and he was captain, and then don't say a word to Viv. And then we'd be in the field, and one wicket down, he's batting 3 or 4. Do not, AB would just say in the huddle, do not say a word to him, because you don't want him to go, oh, yeah, man, you got a bit lippy today, bro.
Chappell was the same.
I'll just bat all day. You don't want that.
Didn't you say one time, too, that he would often give a chance early on, so you'd always have to be very switched on in the field?
That's what I tried to do. But he's such a great player. I don't think the modern game doesn't appreciate, the modern players have got no idea what this bloke was like.
No.
Or Barry Richards.
Oh.
I bowled to Sunil Gavaskar.
A great player.
And he was like a surgeon. I bowled to Boycott. Everybody wanted Boycott. Even his own team wanted him out.
They go, what a boring player. He scored 8,000 test runs.
But it was...
What about the surname?
It was incredible.
Boycott.
I'm just trying to... Imran Khan.
I played 2 tests against Boyks. How weird's that?
As
Imran.
if Iqbal.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep going.
Oh,
really, keep going.
The era that Len played in there was just some fabulous cricketers, right, man? What about even, you talk about Viv, what about Clive Lloyd? What a player he was.
He used to frustrate watching him. It used to frustrate me.
His name was Big Clive Lloyd.
Because he was very tall, wasn't he?
Not that tall.
Oh,
Jeez, I still
Tallish.
remember.
yeah.
In Adelaide, in that match, I got him plumb in front, LBW, and they didn't give him out. Oh, that's what bloody set me off.
Talking of the West Indies, when you toured there, was it 1979?
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
and the Guyana Riots.
Doing my bit.
Oh, yeah.
Got that cool, yeah.
Yeah, the Guyana Riots, yeah.
I can make a comment, Lenny, come in, he like ball the short ball, and I'm thinking that, wow, look at this fella coming in. A lot of steam coming out the nose and shit like that. But he got one just off the top of my helmet, a top edge. This is Viv Richards telling you I got a top edge. No one got the top edge, but Lenny and Tomo got the top edge.
Yeah, I can't wait to get Viv on here. It's going to be great.
Viv, just here.
I got so much respect
Vivian's
for
here,
that.
just here. What you talking about?
All those West Indians, Michael Holding, he was a fabulous fella, Michael Holding.
Great athlete.
And Andy Roberts, he played for New South Wales.
And there's the thing about those two, never said a word.
Didn't they?
Never said, didn't have to. It just went past you, and you just didn't want to even look at it.
I used to hate the openers, Greenidge and Haynes.
Oh, how good
They
were
just
they?
wouldn't get out. They just
the hammer.
hogged the whole day, wouldn't they?
Glenn and I weren't too fond of him.
Gordon Greenidge, he had a very morose type of character, but Desi, the hammer, he was very jovial and.
But they just wouldn't get out, would they?
Gordy was a little bit, morose is probably not a bad word for it, but Desi had live, love, and laugh around his neck. So you had, Gordy, Gordon had more of an English sort of accent. But you got Desi always playing around out there, man. These two different guys, but both unbelievable players, Len, weren't they?
The West Indies, we struck them 2 years in a row of World Series cricket, and for 2 years after the amalgamation. So I got stuck with having to bowl to that lot. Where's the Bangladesh and
Zimbabwe and
Sri Lanka? Holland Island. It just reminded me. This was Sri Lanka was just starting to come into the first class scene, right? And they're playing New South Wales. So I'm going towards the halfway through the season. I'm a bit busted up. All I want to do is just play the game and go home and get my $15 and
double it.
And we just got to rise.
Buy some milk.
So, I get confronted by the fast bowler Ratnayeke.
Oh, yeah.
And
Ravi Ratnayeke.
He said
fantastic
to me,
bloke.
Another
I'm coming
Ravi.
back from the nets. He said, "You're fat for a fast bowler."
Who said that?
Ravi Ratnayeke.
He sledged you.
Yeah. He said, you're very fat for a fast bowler. And I gone,
Is that it? Yeah.
Who said that? Write that name down.
so I ended up putting 4 of them into the casualty ward, all for precautionary X-rays, arms, legs, head.
Mate, there's nothing wrong with being fat. You shouldn't have taken
Just backtrack a second. You had a Bankstown Hospital, wasn't there? A Lenny and Tomo.
Yeah, there was.
ward there?
It got used most Saturdays. We were
True, was it?
The Pascoe Thompson Ward, They go, I must be cricket
Were
Saturday.
they sponsoring it?
No, they just named it after him. There was that many bodies taken in.
There's
there.
another one coming in.
But on the Guyana riots, when you were playing there, what happened there? I saw some footage this morning, and you guys were cowering in the dressing room, and there was stands getting ripped up and shit.
I'll give you the brief story. What it was to pay for the ticket to see the match. It was basically a month's wages, and this
was World Series, right?
in Guyana, right. And the match was sort of put off because of rain, and then on the Sunday the sun came out, but the run-ups were too wet, and the crowd was starting to get edgy, and as we were drawing to around 1 o'clock, the announcement come through just as they were dropping the benches from the top tier down to the bottom and throwing bottles onto the ground, and about to riot. Clive Lloyd has come in with a cigarette. He said, "We've got to get the game going." He knew what was going to happen.
Okay, yeah.
So, I looked at Tomo and I said, "Okay, Tomo, what are we going to do?" He said, "Just follow me." Well, I follow him all the time, so I thought, "Oh, yeah, that's good." Dennis Lily's got a pair of sandals. He's gone up behind guys' ears, slapping
them like bullets going off.
Yeah, scaring the shit. And then you've got Bruce Laird. He's there with the beer gun. He's giggling away. He's a brave little bugger. Mick Malone, he's abusing the security guards in our room. He said, "Where are you?" He goes off and off and off. And then someone put a Banks beer bottle in Mick's hand, and suddenly he had all this courage and started to sledge the security guards more and more. Gary Gilmore lifted the lid of the seat that on the bench and hid there with a Guyana knife and fork. Now, you got to picture the scene. There's a block of wood come flying through the batwing doors, glass is going everywhere, people are ducking. The head of security has picked the 2 biggest blokes, me and Tomo, and then plonked himself in the middle. David Hooks is threatening to sue Max Walker if any photos of him turned up being scared in the dressing room. This is a true story. I said to Tomo, I said, "What are we going to do?" And the security goes there and he said, what's happening? And anyway, guns are going off. Boom, boom, boom. I said, "Where are they?" He said, come soon. And that's their brave turn. And I said, "Tomo, we've got to have a plan." He said, "Look, we stand back here. They run in and we start smashing things with them." And I said, "That is a really good idea."
It is a good idea, isn't it?
Yeah. So there's a lot more to that, but
that was a scary time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was pretty scary.
Did you smash anything?
No. But you know what? Not one. I have had more stuff.
Was that at the border ground in Guyana?
Yeah. And you know what? I've had more stuff taken from the dressing room at SCG than I had that day in that riot in Guyana. Wow. They never took a thing.
Georgetown, Guyana. It's a scary place.
Yes.
Barbados, I think on that same tour, I've heard you tell a story where there was some bloke in the crowd with a Magnum 44 gun.
Oh, yeah.
What is wrong with people?
Yeah. What happened? We were at Barbados.
What's wrong with you? I just brought my Magnum to the ground.
You drink it,
I got no bullets. I just took the Magnum to the ground, you know.
I had 5 wickets.
Of course.
That's just the way it happened. Tomo was in the team, and so was Dennis Lilly, and I was first change, and they probably thought I'll have a go at me instead of them. And so I managed to get the wickets. And Fredo had come down the wicket, and
this is Roy Fredericks.
Yeah, Roy Fredericks,
legend.
Yes.
And they said he's out, and the commentator said he's not out, and started right. But anyway, one of the things that you do with a crowd like that, you do the same thing in Perth or MCG. Never face the spectators. Turn around and face the game and back, but do not make eye contact. And this big West Indian guy, he's given me heaps. Because, I've taken And he said, turn around, man, turn around. Finally.
Turn around, turn man.
Thank you.
Pascoe, turn around, man.
Yeah.
What the problem?
Thank you.
So I turn around, and he lifts out his shirt, and there's a bloody dirty Harry Magnum.
I just bought the Magnum to the game today. That's all.
You drink that, don't you?
That's all.
So I thought the best thing I could do here is have no reaction whatsoever. You know, like,
You weren't keen on saying, nice gun, champ?
no. And then he said, do you want a lolly, man? I said, no. You want my woman?
Oh,
I said,
man,
no.
really?
I said, I didn't know where either of them had been.
And then I just covered up the
then the
Magnum
riot happened
and just
again.
tucked my shirt in. But Len Pascoe knew I got the Magnum. Yeah.
Oh, Len.
Say, hey, you can say Magnum. You got the Magnum.
That's the second time. The other time was the Guyana Riot. I was rooming with Gary Gilmore. We got up the lift, and Gus now is just a ball of jelly. And I've held him together, and he's just like a sloth all over the place. And this big West Indian is there with a big floral shirt. And he said, who are you? And he said, I'm your security, man. He said, show me your gun. And he showed him his gun again. And there's another dirty Harry, bloody.
What about his woman?
And then
Or his lolly.
Gus now is an absolute piece of nothing. So I took him in, put him in the bath.
That's sad.
And he was just sitting there with all the lice. Just sitting there, all the lice floating to the surface. You know, there wasn't the cleanest bath around. And anyway, we decided that after that we've had enough of these riots, because we had 4 matches, 3 riots. So we've had this meeting convened by Ian
We
Chappell.
want more money.
Well, danger money.
And
Danger money.
We're already
Extra
getting Jamaican
20%.
money like that. We all felt like Kerry Packer. I mean,
Really, we're making good money? Good luck to you, buddy.
made a lot of money, but it wasn't worth anything. Anyway,
Oh, wasn't it?
so we're in the meeting.
Fuck
We're in the meeting, and it was a very democratic tour. We were all issued with water pistols that if anyone swore,
Yeah.
you'd hit them with a water pistol in the bus.
Fuck that.
So,
Jeez, I'd be fucked, wouldn't I?
Fucking I'd drown.
so that worked for a little while. Anyway, we had this meeting. We've had enough. We're going home. That's it. We're calling the tour off. So we'll have a vote. So we all voted. There was 11 said go home. 3 said we stay. Democratically, we stayed. So now they've introduced a law to say that if anyone swears, they'll be reported to the committee. Now, I'm in the bar in Guyana.
On the committee.
I'm not on the
sorry.
committee. It was Rick McCosker,
Thank you.
Rod Marsh, it was Greg Chappell
all the
and Ian
heavies.
Chappell.
All the heavies.
Yeah. So I'm at the bar, and I said to Bruce Laird, I said, can you pass it? And Mick Malone said, you said bastard. I said, I did not.
Oh, no.
And so I was reported to the behavioural committee. So I'm fronted them. I'm sitting up here, and they've given me the charges. You've been heard swearing. Also,
This
there's-
happens on tour. Ian Healy was on when we went to the West Indies. He was in charge of all that.
Because he passed it.
Yeah, well, they read out a fucking charge sheet the next
Yeah.
day, and they $20, 15,
Yeah.
50, whatever goes into the kitty.
So I'm there arguing my bloody, giving them back. No, I didn't do that. I'm getting a bit heated. They're having. Anyway, they said, and there's another further charge. I said, what charge was that? He said, Bruce Laird has said that when they were at the disco, that he wanted to go to the toilet, and he was scared to go to the toilet, so he had a piddle in the pot, some pot near the some pot plant. And I said, who said that? He said, Tomo. So now
you got fined for that.
so I'm in there arguing blue and black about, how I shouldn't be fined. And then finally we come to an agreement. I said, I will not go on those charges, but I'll go on multiple misdemeanors that haven't been reported. And I got fined something
Good
like
on you, mate.
Bombing yourself in.
5,000 Jamaican dollars, which was about $250.
Yeah,
gee, that's a lot.
yeah, that's all.
But What's happening to the West Indies now, man?
One quick question before that. Sorry.
Yeah.
On that same tour, Ian Chappell, only talking of Ian Chappell, he had a chat to you at a bar in Jamaica about what you should be as a player.
Yeah.
A batsman.
Well, Tomo had just come off his multiple contract problems, and I thought to myself, oh, geez, I've had 3 seasons now. I just need to have a bit of a break, and I'll just let Lily and Tomo, the great era, let them do it. I'll go into cruise control. And Ian Chappell realised this, and he called me aside and he said, why are you going behind these blokes? What do you mean? He said, why are you're looking up to them. I said, I want you performing the way you should. And I said, no, I just respect them and all that. I said, it's bullshit. He said, it's bullshit. You're hiding behind them because you're not working. So then the next match, we're at Accra Beach, and my old surfing days had kicked in, and it was a non-compulsory training session. And so the beach is there, the motel's here, there's some bushes there, and there's a walkway across the road and into the foyer. So I'm coming down the room with Tomo, and I see Ian Chappell coming over, and I ducked into the bushes, and I'm laying there. And he says to Tomo, he says, where's that big dumb mate of yours? I said, I don't know, he was here a minute ago. And he sort of trots off and hey, is he gone, Tomo? Yeah. So I go into the motel room, into the foyer, and there's Greg Chappell sitting there. He said, what are you doing? And I got my beach towel and non-compulsory practice, Greg. He said, not for you, it ain't. You get in that bloody cab and get the... And I go, there's bloody steam coming out of me. So I get the training. And I'm looking at Ian Chappell. And the eyes are going, and all that Latin blood is now starting to... There's a McEnroe tied up with bloody... all this bloody...
Ivan Lendl.
All this stuff ready to come out. As soon as he comes in, and I am bowling it, and I am bouncing the shit out of Ian's there. And after 20 minutes...
They knew, eh?
He's come out and he said, thanks, Len. He said, that's the best net session I've ever had.
I knew that.
He said, that's... And that got me. Anyway, the next match, he scores 75 and I take 5 wickets. But that's the nature of Ian Chappell as a skipper.
I want to ask you about Ian Chappell now.
It's unreal, bud.
He was the era, obviously before me, captain Australia. People have said he was an amazing captain. He could get the best out of his players. He was a pretty good player as well. I mean, he's a very good player. One that didn't go with the helmet either. Yep. I know he ever wore a lid. Yep. Great hooker of the ball. And was instrumental in World Series cricket. Like, come out of retirement to play World Series cricket, which changed the face of cricket in the world. How good a captain was he? How good a player was he?
I have the utmost respect for Ian in the sense that he would take you to the limits of your ability as someone you played against, but someone who you played for, you went beyond your limits. Yeah. He had the ability to get out of you more than you knew you had. And the other thing about Ian is that he did not tolerate fools, and he could see through the characters that were weak in mental toughness. Like, I'll give you an example. There's one particular player who was picked in the Australian team to bat 3.
Who was that?
Oh, I'm not going to say.
No, I'll give you $10.
No. And he said, no, I wanted to bat 4, but he was picked in the Australian team to go first.
That's right.
And only took a couple of games and he wasn't in the team again. And that player was a good player, but he showed that he had
weakness.
He could work out where your weakness was.
50.
See, I had the attitude was, and I used to say this to myself: turn your weakness into power.
Yeah.
If you're bowling no balls, fix it.
Yeah.
Turn your weakness into power. If you've got a mental thing here, turn it into power. Don't let it bloody destroy you. And that's another little mantra but these are things that I passed on to Stuart Clark, passed on to Glen McGrath, Steve Smith, the current one. I'm coaching out at Sutherland. Smithy's there, and he's got the earring in his ear. He's got the straggly hair, and he's rather rotund. I went up to Smithy and I said, Smithy, if you had two players of similar ability, which ones will the selector pick? And he looked at me, and I said, I'll tell you which ones. The one that looks like a cricketer and you don't.
Yeah, because you look like Shane Warne, eh?
Get rid of that bloody earring, get a haircut and go and lose some weight. And he went over to Queensland in the academy, and it was like a complete reversal. He was trimmed down, the earring had gone, hair was trimmed, and I just looked at him and said, I like what I see. Sometimes coaching isn't about doing this and do it. Sometimes it's about getting in between the ears. Now, with Glen McGrath, we're playing against Bankstown. Bankstown had the World 11, and I'm coaching Sutherland. I went up to Glen McGrath and I said, mate, I'm going to tell you now, this afternoon, you could take 5 wickets and they're going to blame the wind and all that sort of stuff, but I want you to helmet one of the wars. I want you to helmet them. Because when you do, it'll go round the ranks that you were the one who knocked him out, which was weird because that's what I coached the other fellas. Smalley got word of this. He's yelling at me, about, you're feeding them raw meat and all this sort of stuff. Well, Glen McGrath went out there and he helmeted Mark Waugh, and he did what I wanted to do, to stand up above everybody else. So, but with Glen, if you have a look at his bowling action, it's in here. It's exactly the way I showed him when he come from Narromine. And let me tell you, he was found by Doug Walters. He was brought by Steve Rickson. He was captained by John Dyson.
Tooheys
and
Country
I
Cricket.
coached him.
Yeah, Tooheys Country Cricket, and we found him out in the bush.
Wow.
And I coached him. And then, of course, he went on to the academy and others took. But that's what it takes to produce someone like a Glen McGrath.
100%.
Do you remember the bowler before him, Bruce Reid?
Oh, really sad with him.
Oh,
he was
wasn't it?
He's
I
a
played
wonderful
with Bruce.
bowler.
He was really tall, great bowler, and then it was Glen McGrath after him, wasn't he, when he got injured and with his back, wasn't
Stuart
it?
Clark came after Glen McGrath, but there was Glen McGrath, and Bruce Reid was. I got to tell you, because Bruce was a left armer like me, but because I'm 6'1" and he was 6'6" and thin, he was a totally different bowler to me, and he could bowl an in-swinger that swooped in.
I remember that.
It would, like mine was more of a flatter trajectory, but his would come down from such height and swoop in. He had great bounce and he was pretty quick. Unfortunately, he was too thin, and he either had a shoulder problem, a back problem. His body just couldn't handle the rigours. But when he was on,
But you remember,
one of the best in the world, mate. Bruce Reid, wonderful bowler.
Stuart Clark had virtually no back movement. He had
very stiff.
That's why they called him Sarfraz, because he had a similar.
Sarfraz Nawaz, which was a Pakistani
And he
bowler.
bowled the same
Yeah.
And,
But again, another good bowler. Line and length, tall dude, just moved around a little bit.
We were in the nets at Sutherland, and I was about 42, 43 years of age, and I called Glen and Stuart Clark, and I asked Tony Clark to bat. I said, us three are now going to bowl to you, and you're going to tell us who was the fastest and who had you on the edge. And after we bowled an over each, he said, Len, he said, I've got to tell you, he said, the other two are much faster than you. I said, right, okay. What about the other? He said, mate, I couldn't hit you. You kept on bloody hitting the splice of the bat. And I went over to Glen, and I said to Glen and to Stuart, I said, you're only a half a yard quicker than a broken down 45-year-old fast bowler, and you think you're... And the trick is hit the splice of the bat. Don't bowl short. Don't bowl too full. The further up you can pitch the ball and the higher you can pass the splice of the bat, I've yet to see a batsman being able to hit a cut shot or a hook shot off the splice of the bat. And that's, you look at Glen McGrath, he was really quick
That's
on
why
picking
he
it
was
up.
so good.
And Stewart as well. And
Now,
Stewart as well.
mind you, Tony Clark, the guy that was batting, he wanted to play a full season in first grade, and Len was the coach. So, of course, he was going to say to the coach that he was the best bowler bowling that day. Wasn't he, Len?
Is that true, Len?
Wasn't he, Len?
Len, come on, what's that smile?
Of course he's going to say, Coach, you're not as
gone
quick
red.
as them
Why is
young
he
blokes,
gone
but fuck you, the best bowler, brother. Good player, Tony
I'm going to
Clark,
stick
too.
with my boots.
World Series cricket,
Here we go.
massive thing. How did that all come about from your perspective, and how did you get involved?
Look, I spoke to Max Walker about this, what his recollections were, and I agree with him. We thought it was something that was going to be for 6 weeks prior to a season starting. We didn't think we were going to get banned. And if you think back in those early days, the sight screens fell, there's nobody turning up to suit.
Year one.
Yeah, I mean, Doug Walters, you'd sit there in slips, and Rod Marsh say, "How many people do you think there are here?"
Yeah, he'd count them exactly.
Doug would go 1, 2,
He'd count them all.
3, 4, 5, and then Bacchus would say, "Oh, there's one more come in." So Doug would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we were having trouble getting numbers. There was no sign that there was any day-night cricket or coloured clothing or anything. We're having a think tank in Melbourne, in the old Melbourne, and Strop Cornell's behind us.
Yeah.
Austin Robinson's there, and Ian Chappell makes the remark, what do we have to do to try and build our numbers? Now, we'd already been training with New South Wales under lights because we couldn't get facilities. And I made the comment to Ian Chappell. I said, mate, they play baseball under lights. They play football under lights. Why can't we play cricket under lights? And then Max Walker chimed in, and then somebody else chimed in. So it was a collaborative thing. The next night, we were training at VFL Park with the cricket balls. And that was when Austin Robinson said, well, we got to have to have white balls, and they use shoe polish. Then we said, we got to have coloured clothing. And Ian Chappell's wife, Barbara, she dyed the West Indian outfit in her bathroom.
Wow.
That's why it come out sort of that pinky colour.
She liked the West Indians, didn't she?
And the thing...
The girls all liked the West Indians.
But, and the gear, the pads...
We love coming out to Australia to a Raymond. And the girl, we love the girl, like hot Aussie girl. All right.
The pads...
Yeah, K-Ray.
The pads were all spray painted. The boots were spray painted. And the only reason they used white balls, and we used about 8 or 9 white balls from either end. In fact, you'd bowl and you'd end up with white shoe polish. And the only reason they used white balls is because in those days, an orange one would flare, a green one would flare, a blue one would flare. That's not because the players could see the white ball better. That's nothing.
Oh, right.
But if it was planned, wouldn't you think that Strop and Packer and everybody else would have already had the equipment and everything ready to go?
Yeah.
It was an evolving thing that was born out of the players. And that first night game, or that night game where we had 44,000 people turn up.
At the SCG.
That was
Mate, I'll never
VFL
forget.
Park.
Oh, yeah, right.
I'll never forget that, because I just want to say something about that crowd. I didn't care about the cricket that was getting played.
At the SCG you're talking about?
The crowd looked incredible. Everyone, all the blokes had their shirts off. No one was overweight. Everyone was. It was like there was no McDonald's or pizza yet. It was incredible. How the girls had their tops off. Everyone looked fantastic. There.
I just talking about girls.
There was a cricket match going on too.
There was.
You like this one. You like this one, Mick. I'm at the SCG.
Yeah.
At the Paddington end. And Greg Chappell, there's a night game. Greg Chappell saying, go back. Oh, shit. I yelled out, I come here to play this game, not watch it. And he said, no, get back.
He would have loved that.
You'd be surprised some of the things. Anyway, this girl has jumped over the fence in a bunny outfit, in a play bunny outfit.
Oh, beautiful.
And she's latched onto my back. Now
we're talking.
Now, Greg is yelling at me.
Because he wants to go on her back.
He's yelling at
Glenn's
me.
in the wrong fielding position now.
He said, "You're out of position."
No.
Yes.
And I said, "Yeah, you got one of these." But those matches.
That is unreal.
I want to share another one to you. The West
Please.
Indies, about the West Indies. There was one of the Larry Gomes. Larry Gomes.
One of my favourite players.
He gets hit on the elbow, and the game stops. And Dennis Waite,
Dennis Waite.
he comes running out.
Aussie boy.
He goes running out, and he sprays and sprays and sprays and sprays. Comes back again. He sprayed him with Brute.
But did he feel better?
Wow. Yeah, he smelled better.
Hey, I got to tell you a little bit.
That's fantastic.
Fuck, that's a classic story. If you know Dennis Waite, and I know him well, and he was the trainer, and he was an Aussie guy, he's a white guy, who trained the West Indies all through World Series.
Oh, he got him ready.
Very good job. I wonder, was he taking the piss, or did he mistakenly take out the Brute?
It will be one of these things we will never know.
I'd love to know that.
Great story.
Did you sign your World Series contract at the back of Tomo's veranda? Is that or something like that? Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Len, what sort of money was it? Do you remember?
22,500 it was.
Well, that's
For
pretty
1
big.
year, and then
1 year.
and then re-signed for the second year.
Yeah, now that's very interesting. That's very interesting because it was 7.5, 7.5, and 7.5. And that was.
Do you want?
Yes,
I'll just bunt in here.
Yeah, please.
That was 77, 78, 79, right?
The average
Two
range
seasons.
would have been about 18 to 20,000 a year.
Yeah, right. So my first Sheffield Shield game,
Yep.
$100 gross, $12 tax, $88 take home, 1980.
Yep.
This is a few years before that.
Yeah,
So they would have been getting $5,000 to play a full season of Shield cricket,
if that.
if that. So to get signed up for $20,000 to $25,000, huge.
So okay, we signed for that, and we were promised that this was going to go on again. Now I'd gone from sort of down the rankings. Now I'm one of the main guys, and Linton Taylor, he come into the motel room and said, "I've got good news."
Was he the boss of Nine, Linton?
He was he may have been, but he was the chairman. He took over from Caro. He was
And
the
ran
CEO.
Packer's
Yeah.
business. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
that's
That's right. That's right.
And anyway, what happened? He said, you can now play for Australia. And Gus and myself were talking. We said, "Hey, hang on a minute. We were expecting $35,000 in this third year, and we're going to go on and on and on." I said, "I don't know about you, but I'm going to go back in the Australian team, and I'm out there, and I've got Carl Rackerman, I've got bloody Rodney Hogg, I got
Hoggy.
Tomo, I got all these." I said, I'm not guaranteed to get any money, and besides that, we're going to get hammered for signing with World Series cricket. And with that, we went and complained, and out of that come what we called the guarantee year. The guarantee year was to guarantee that Packer would make up the difference between what we earned from Cricket Australia, the ACB. So if I earned $12,000, I got $10,000. So
As a top up to make you 22. Yeah.
It was only going to be for 1 year.
Yeah.
And once again, my North Bankstown Public School milk run thing come in.
So what happened?
I said, "Do you want to buy out my contract?" And they said yes. So they gave me the $10,000, and I went on and earned $66,000 from the Cricket Australia, the Australian Cricket Board.
You are a legend.
So, but what good did it do me? I lost half of it in tax
That old bloody
because
tax.
there's nothing to claim. Everything was, So at the end of the day, you're still around 35. But
You had that bunny on your back.
Guarantee year, that morphed into the key player contract.
Yeah.
And that's where Doug Walters was not very happy because he didn't get a contract and I did. So I got a contract of the key player. Fast forward a little bit further, there was a threat that another TV station, it might have been Star or someone like that, was going to go and a raid into the Australian cricket team for a rebel competition. Right. Remember, Henry was involved, and there was going to be strikes and all sorts of things. Not many people remember that, but I remember bits and pieces of it still to this day. Sure. Apparently, a representative went to Packer and said, we've got to stop this. So Packer, from what my understanding was, hired the main players as employees.
Right.
And if you think back, you had Steve Waugh, you had Glen McGrath, you had Mark Taylor, you had Ian Healy. They all become employees. Once you become an employee, you're going to do what your master tells you. And that was the last time Packer was going to bail out. I've got no proof on that. I only got word of say amongst the players.
But who was advising? Was anyone advising you? Was it you just working it out?
Look, I was very fortunate to have a fellow called Warren Saunders from St George. He was very much like a mentor for me. When you're in a pressure situation, sometimes you go mentally off the rails.
Yeah, sure.
And it's nice to have an old head to be able to just run it past and get it
wonderful
off your chest.
bloke, right?
Yeah,
wonderful.
Yeah.
Passed away a couple of years ago, but a wonderful bloke.
So,
and a decent cricketer, mate. He's a very good player.
Absolutely.
Wacky Saunders.
Yeah. So I'm really, to some extent, a progeny of Wacky.
Yeah, sure.
And some of those St George blokes took me and it was I mentioned before Bill O'Reilly. Yeah, I'm on the brick wagon with my father, and I'm carting the tiles and the face bricks. I got one foot on the wagon, the other foot on the stack, and it's a hot day. I got my shirt off, and the sweats are like diamonds dripping off my body.
I feel sick.
And I had muscles, and I'm picking up these face bricks, and my father's yelling at me, "Don't chip them face bricks!" And Bill O'Reilly comes walking past, and I'm waiting for these words of wisdom. He said, "Keep working on that back, son. You're going to need it one day." So, okay, I'm there, and I go in to get the ticket where we're going to go next. So Bill O'Reilly says to me, "What sort of a bowler are you, son?" I said, "Well," he said, "when I bowled the outswinger, I do this, I do that." I gave him the War and Peace novel about what sort of a bowler I was. He looked at me and he said, "The type of bowler you're talking about," he said, "I can find 100 of them in Moore Park." He said,
He was lying, wasn't he?
No, he was absolutely right. And he said, "What you got to do, son, hit that seam and hit the keeper's gloves as hard as you can and off stump. The ball will have a mind of its own." And that's what I told Glenn, what I told Stuart, what I've coached hundreds of kids, and it all come from Bill O'Reilly.
Wow, man, what a big name.
Talking of,
Sorry.
What about when I first met him, Ray? Called him Mr. O'Reilly for a whole year at the SCG because he's still writing articles. And if you went round and sat in the old media, it was right behind the bowler's arm from the northern end. And Mr. O'Reilly would be there. And the second year that I used to go up there and just watch, if we were batting, watch the opposition bowlers, whatever. He went, "Hello, young Michael." I said, "Oh, Mr. O'Reilly." He said, you can call me Bill." Oh, what a fucking day that was that Bill O'Reilly said to me, "I can call him Bill." And I felt really uncomfortable with that because he was Mr. O'Reilly to me. This legend that Bradman had said, best bowler I've ever seen, Bill O'Reilly.
Oh, Don's back.
Don's back. And when you got Bradman saying that, and there you go, Len saying how he influenced his career.
Talking of legends like that, Harold Larwood, I believe, when you met him, he said he likes the way you bowl because you've got the bit of devil in you.
You've got the bit of devil in your eye, mate.
But, Harold Larwood used to, he lived around Randwick, didn't he?
He lived at Kensington. I went round and visited him a couple of times.
Yeah.
Kenzo.
Mate, we were going to England, and he come over to me and he just said, I love the way you bowl, laddie. You got the devil in you.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And he had a bit of devil in him, Harold.
Yeah.
I asked Bradman about him once. I said, how quick was Harold Larwood? The West Indies were out here that particular season, and
Sobers.
no,
Okay.
already retired.
Okay.
But Donald Bradman said to me, as quick as anybody you've seen. Now, I'd seen Holding, Andy Roberts, DK Lilly, Len, and he's telling me Harold Larwood on those uncovered wickets and all that shit.
Frightening.
Frightening.
And they would have been off 19 yards too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because
yeah.
they were dragging through the
Yeah, they were
course.
dragging. Oh, yeah, front. There was a back foot rule then. Now it's a front foot rule. So you could bowl a good yard or a yard and a half over the crease line.
When was that changed? I've never heard of
I never played the back foot rule.
About 1974, 75.
That's
Wow.
right. That'd be about right. Because when I started playing grade cricket, it was the front foot rule. But I do clearly remember, Ray, when I first started playing grade cricket, my first 2 seasons of fourth grade were 8 ball overs.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that.
8 ball, and then they changed them to 6 because England had 6. I think the rest of the world had 6, and we had 8 because we just must have said, fuck them, we're having 8.
Yeah.
And then we come in line with international cricket.
Well, when I used to bowl in the backyard cricket, I used to use the back foot. You know what I mean? And we used to have 10 balls. 10 balls.
Yeah,
That's
I
Italian,
followed your
mate. It's
career.
Italian,
I followed your career.
Thank you.
And what I found was that you were overtrained.
Straight from the expert.
a 10 ball Italian.
You're the best.
10 ball Italian.
He got you then.
I've got one because we're going to have to wind this up, Dawsey. We've been going for
What about the
hours.
music? I've got to ask him 100 music. Next.
No, you can ask plenty of music questions. What about the helmets? Now, there's a great story that you were with Wizard Ian Davis, and said to him, like, why don't you try one of those horse riding helmets sort of thing?
That's what it is. It's still to this day, you look at it, it's a horse riding helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wizard's father was involved in sports stores, so he knew the sportswood game, and he was facing the West Indians in the first over and taking the shine off the new ball, and I was batting number 11, and I was still taking the shine off the new ball. So we figured,
scary, Ray.
we got to get something. We got to get something. I mean, they had those joined wickets, and the ball, 1 minute it was up in the air, the next minute it dribbled along the ground. And so Wizard said, come out to Ashfield. There's a guy there that made artificial limbs and helmets. And there we are talking to this guy. He had one leg, and there was a shelf there with all these different helmets. And Ian Davis is trying them on. And I said, that one there, what do you think of that one there? And it was a horse riding helmet. And Ian said, yeah, that feels pretty good, but probably need something along there. So I said, okay, we'll put a polycarbonate that a bullet won't go through. And I said, oh, yeah, that sounds all right. So they went in. Then one day they were doing a promotion at the Sydney Cricket Ground number 2. They got a big sheet of this Perspex. And Tomo was going to bowl to the news guys, to the reporters. And just
Remember
before
those
one
words?
of them...
Unbreakable, right? This
unbreakable.
shit. Yeah.
Nothing can go through them.
Nothing, 22 bullet
They
won't
can't go
through.
through.
Okay.
And they want to use this for the protection on the face of it.
So just to see what it's like to face a bloke bowling 90 mile an hour.
Sure.
And just before he's about to go out, I said, hey, hang on a minute. Let him do a couple first before you go in. In 3 balls, he smashed the thing to pieces.
Wow.
And that was the end of the polycarbonate, and then they went to the steel gauze.
Yeah.
Jeez.
The polycarbonate was for a season, couple of seasons maybe,
Yeah.
and then they went to the steel. But I don't think what they'd factored into, if it was flat, but as soon as they bent it,
Yeah.
it lost a little bit of what he and Tomo just ran in and did that fucking thing he did
Yeah.
and smashed it. Completely smashed it in 3 balls.
Yeah, when you think back, I mean, I look back now, and it's been 40 years, and I think it was a turmoil time of cricket, but it was an incredibly colourful time in cricket.
Yeah.
And when I think of the night game, I think of the helmet. People say, what's the meaning of the baggy green? Well, I'll tell you the meaning of the baggy green. In the centenary test in 1980, I was looking forward to opening the bowling with Dennis Lilly and Tomo. The only other time we've done it is when we smashed the West Indies on their own ground.
Yeah.
So here we are in the centenary test at Lords, and they picked the spinners. No disrespect to the spinners, but there was an opportunity lost.
Who were they?
Ashley Mallett and Ray Bright.
Right,
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, they're excellent spinners. They're great spinners. But surely they could have fitted us 5 bowlers.
Yeah.
Anyway, Tomo's made 12th man. And I said to Tomo, that's not right, as he's coming down the stairs at Lords. I said, you wouldn't believe this, but I've just torn a hamstring. I was going to give my spot to him to open the bowling with Lilly for the centenary test because he missed the one before. Tomo said to me, if you pull out with a hamstring, I've got one as well.
Oh, how cool!
He did not want my spot.
Because he was scared to go out there, wasn't
No.
he?
He did not want it because he wasn't picked. He didn't earn it, and that's the meaning of the baggy green. Now that particular match, I went on to take 5 wickets, and you'll see my name up on the board there at Lords.
5 for 59.
And you'll also see up there Glen McGrath as well, who I coached. And I take a lot of pride. People say, "What's your greatest achievement?" And it's a good one to finish off.
Sure.
I every time I see a player get hit with the helmet, and I think they could have lost an eye, teeth, fractured jaws. To me, the development of that, and let me tell you, Packer made the environment, but he never come up with a helmet. I know at VFL Park, they had a whole heap of helmets there. The baseball catcher and Hooksy's in there trying all different ones to see how he looked.
Sure.
And when he went out, he was like a scared rabbit.
See how he
But he looked good, didn't he?
Well, he got hit. He broke his jaw, and he had to come back
Yep.
in the second year with a
Yep.
helmet on.
Yep.
So that really put them out there, and he was the
Pin-up
young
boy,
pin-up
wasn't
boy,
he?
mate. And if Hooksy's wearing a helmet, everybody was going to wear one.
One more quick question before Ray, because I know Ray wants to talk to you about music. But T20 cricket, just what are your thoughts on T20 cricket these
West
days?
Indies turned a few of our matches into T20. Those big West Indian quicks.
Did you find it when T20 came around, like we basically test cricket, first class cricket, one day cricket, 3 runs and over. That was what we were working around. I found it so hard to accept that 6 or 7 or 8 runs and over in your 4 overs in T20. I know it's a slogathon, but I just couldn't get through my head going for 7 runs and over, and that's acceptable. But it is in T20.
Okay, let's analyse T20. T20 is the length of a movie, right? The TV want it.
Sure.
A good fast bowler will destroy a T20 match in 4 overs, right? So what do? You hobble the bowler as much as you can. You bowl as much trash as you can because it's hard to hit trash. Yeah. If you've got a fast bowler and he bowls short, they go bang, it'll go for 6. You get someone bowling with slow rubbish, you're going to mishit it.
Wow.
You haven't got the pace on the ball. So in order to get 120 runs so you can get a game, they hobble the bowler, hence no balls and all the business they go on with. They give him a bat. Doug Walters used a wafer of a bat and hit 6s. These guys use tree trunks.
I'm holding Doug Walters' bat.
It's not that thick.
That's a pencil. No, it wasn't that thick. That's right. There you go.
And then to top it all off, they bring in each year they brought in the rope more and more and more. So now it goes this far over the rope. It's a 6, but it's 2 bounces into the fence.
Yeah.
So that's how you get these 7 runs and over, because it's been manufactured to go that way. And then when you look at where the modern game is going, basically, I think there's been a devaluation of
100%.
the Australian captaincy, because now we've got 3 captains.
Sure.
Where once before you had the one captain,
Who would
and
do
he
the
was
whole
right
3.
next to the
Test cricket, one day cricket.
he was regarded next to the Prime Minister of Australia.
Yeah.
But now that Test captain, he picks and chooses and where he wants. Then you got your one day captain, and then you got your T20. If you ask me, name the players, I can't name a full team in any one of those. Now that's given that's given the conveyor belt of production an opportunity for players to play in the big show. And I fully get that. And I also see, after your test career, what'd you get? Test career, one-day cricket, you play T20. Your career now is going into 38, 40 years of age.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now it's going to the US.
Yeah.
So they're picking up. They're picking up. So I say good luck to the players.
Yeah.
But don't forget those World Series guys. Now, Doug Walters, he signed for World Series cricket and he was the number one batsman for Australia.
Yeah.
He ended up playing in the Cavaliers
Yeah.
at Tamworth somewhere.
That's right, on the
No
second
disrespect to Tamworth and Lismore.
Yeah.
But you face Michael Holding, one bloke
Lismore.
at Lismore. One bloke come up and said, the curator come up and said, "Oh, there was 500 runs scored on this yesterday. This is a batting paradise." We watched Michael Holding come in, one bounce just before the side screen.
Yeah, scary.
You know, these guys, you just don't know the power of these guys.
But have you been to a T20 game?
Yes, I have. Yeah,
Yeah. It's
With
all about
Super Thunder.
entertainment, isn't it? Really.
it is.
I went there. I couldn't even see the game. It was just entertainment.
I'm not going to rubbish
prizes.
it. I'm not going to rubbish
No,
it.
but it is. That's what it is. It's for the kids. And
All we hope, Ray, is it puts money into the game. India's putting a lot of money into the game, so they're like got the big stick at the moment. But T20 wouldn't be there, T10 wouldn't be there without the Len Pascoes who played in
and that's
World
what
Series
he's trying to
cricket.
make the point.
Yeah. And in I think the first one-day game was 79, and then it really, during the early 70s, they played a couple of one-dayers. It wasn't a real big thing until World Series cricket.
Yes, 100%.
And then they played these unbelievable test matches as well. They were the greatest players in it.
It changed everything.
And then after that, we had the Tri-Series every year here in Australia, where it would be Australia and the West Indies and whoever was touring. If the West Indies was touring, Pakistan would come out or New Zealand would come out. And that was huge, but it wouldn't be happening. They wouldn't be going now, next year, over to play in the IPL without dudes like Lenny.
Do you know, I coached out at Waratah Mayfield, which was Gary Gilmore's club earlier this year.
the great all-rounder.
And I'm watching.
Great player, right?
I'm watching the guys in the nets, and they asked me, "Will I contribute something to help them?" And the club was having a bad run with losing matches, young players, all that sort of stuff. And I'm watching the batsmen in there, and they're swinging the bat and fair income. If I bowled the ball was landing just over here. So they're swinging the bat on every delivery, trying to smash the shit out of it. And I said, "Hey, hang on a minute.
No finesse. Yeah.
I never saw Viv Richards do that, and he was one of the greatest master blasters."
Yeah.
What's happening in the game now, whether it's a grade cricket, and Johnny Dyson, he was frustrated with it. The guys are more concerned about scoring 17 runs off 5 balls
That's right.
than playing for a 50 or 100, and they don't understand why they're not getting 50s and 100s. The game has changed. If that's what the young players want, how is that any different to when I played World Series cricket? You know, if that's what the modern game wants, give it to them. But don't call it test match cricket. No. Test match cricket, that tests you mentally, physically, emotionally. Everything. You know,
And I love watching it. I love watching a 5-day test. I love it. Love it.
You know, I look at basketball. All I got to do is watch the last 5 minutes.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
You know,
one into the other, into the other.
I think the worry is that, you know, we're already seeing T10 and the 100s in England and the game's getting reduced, where people of our ilk and probably a little bit younger than us, test cricket is the real test, like Len said. You play 5 days, man. It's like a flower opening
and how it can
up.
change,
and the week,
how can
conditions
change in
change.
those 5 days.
100%.
You know where this T20's going? T10?
No.
The players don't get paid. They get paid by the number of sixes they hit.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
And they plonk them, as Len said before, the bats they use now. Len could bowl a bouncer and really beat someone with a bouncer, but they just get a top edge and it goes 15 rows back. Where in our day, I'm in 5 metres from the fence taking that catch. Or you're just on the fence, you take that catch, now it goes 20 rows back. So the game's changed a lot.
Can I tell you one Doug
And the
Walters
money.
story which I like?
Doug Walters story, we're
Doug
always open
Walters,
to that.
I don't know. They're building a statue out at
Dungog. Yeah.
I was involved in his golf day.
Yeah.
And I just love Doug.
We all love Doug.
Anyway.
Yeah, we love him.
Oh, jeez. What was it? Now I've forgotten.
Was it Doug Wallace story?
The statue. The statue.
No. I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's catchy.
We're in Adelaide. And I always figured that if I'm always near Doug, he already worked out an angle. How you're not running as far, or not running as hard, or not running at all. So I used to watch him. You go around the oval in Adelaide. It's a big oval, and every lap he did, the circle got smaller.
Oh, what a champion!
And I had Doug. I had Gary Gilmore. So to start off with, Doug, me, Gilmore, Doug, me. At the end, we were just running around the square.
Yeah, around the wicket.
Now, Rick McCosker is a fabulous guy. Rick has decided that we're going to go for a run. And I go, oh, shit, I'm going to be out there. I've got sore knees. How am I going to get out of this? So I'll stick with Doug. And there's Gus. Gus is in on it.
Gus
We
Gould.
go through the gates.
Gus Gilmore. Gus
sorry.
Gilmore.
We go
he
through
was
the
Gus
gates.
as well.
Sorry.
And we're watching. Now, there's a toilet block. So, and there's some trees. So Doug ducks off, goes to the back of the line, ducks off behind under the tree, and then skips across to the toilet. Then Gary Gilmore ducks behind a tree, and he goes behind the toilet. And I thought, shit, that makes sense. So I did that. So here we are all sitting there, and Doug's got a cigarette in his mouth. Gus has got a cigarette in his mouth, sitting in the toilet. And we're watching the guys run up the hill. How are they going? Oh, yeah. They'll be back in about another half an hour. So we're still sitting
Drawing in on the durry.
Still sitting in there. And they're on their way back. So as they start to come back around the toilet block, we jump in on the back of the line. And we go through the gates, but we splashed some water on our faces, so it looked like we were sweating. And then
This is unreal.
There's Steve Rickson and Rick McCosker, and they've got their faces red, and we've gone past them. So you see them look at us. How the hell did they do that?
How good are they?
Yeah.
Did they say, how good are they?
And that's when we started doing the thing around the circle, because they wanted to go.
I love it.
Those stories.
But no one runs anymore, do they? You don't run around the oval for cricket, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, you still do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they run the circle? The in the circle?
No, it's only once I saw.
Okay.
I've got to tell you this.
Yeah, sure.
Now,
Can we stop you?
no, because this is very relevant.
Sure.
Now, Mike is president of Randwick Petersham,
Yep.
right? Which I've had a good association with over many years. So we're playing out at Coogee, and Graham Thomas is having 1 year, and I'm bowling. I got the season sort of about to start, and I am bowling bloody rat power. What on earth is going on here? Graham Thomas says, bang, bang, bang. Oh, God, I've lost it. Anyway, I get over the mat, and I'm psychologically damaged. With the season around the corner, I go, oh, where have I gone wrong? All these questions. Now, the manager on that team was from Randwick, Lyle Gardner. And I said, mate, that game at Coogee, that really, really got under my skin, that one. He said, why? He said, I just couldn't bowl. He said, that's because the curator prepared a 23-yard wicket.
Yeah.
Instead of 22. It was a yard longer.
And it made
It was
that
a
much
yard
difference.
It made that much,
Absolutely. Oh, well, you're a yard shorter.
Yeah, but
I'm bowling rubbish. I'm getting
you guys are
belted.
professional.
That's like you
Yeah.
getting a 10-string bass and
Understand.
you could play it.
Now, what's your music question?
No. We'd love to get you on next time.
Okay.
We need a part two.
And if you don't mind, because I know you're right into the music and you were looking after our bands and getting us gigs, and you were helping people like Charlotte Warrener. And,
Unfortunately, she's not singing anymore.
but you really looked after her and really and there's a lot of other people. But we'd like to discuss that later.
Part
would that
two,
be right?
episode part
If
two.
that's okay with you.
I think it's good because Mike, you guys are involved in the music industry.
Sure.
And when we start talking about meeting Mick Jagger and Tomo with Roger Daltrey,
That would be fantastic.
Meeting him, it's
We'll have 3 parts.
No. But that could be part of the second. If that's so right with you, we'll work something out.
We need to do a part B.
I remember Chicago come out to the dressing room to the SCG because of Packer's involvement in that. I remember meeting them.
Wow.
Yeah. But Tomo would get picked up by the Rolling Stones. Have
He was
a
a
night
rock
out.
star, wasn't he?
When he goes over to England, that's what he's doing. He's sitting there with all these
With
the
Keith,
BGs
me and Keith.
Keith
Richards, all right, mate.
I call Doug Walters the Keith Richards of Australian cricket.
Unbelievable.
Do you know, Lenny was telling that ducked off behind the toilet and that. But of course, when I first got in, he was my hero. And the first game in Brisbane, I thought, I've heard all these stories of him smoking and playing cards and having a cup of tea in the morning instead of warming up and doing the betting and all that shit. It's fucking true. It was all true. I just said he's a legend. It was all true. Len, thank
Len.
you.
No worries.
Thank you.
That was so good, mate.
Thank
really.
you, mate. We're so stoked. It was such an amazing time in cricket and in life, really, wasn't it? It was a lot less fast. It wasn't as hectic, but it was, mate, the time you played, and, mate, how grateful am I to have played with you, brother.
I think when we look back, we didn't live in a goldfish bowl.
No.
And the players today, they earn their money, but they've sacrificed their privacy. And I worry.
Damn social media, huh?
But you guys were the pioneers, weren't you, really? Cricket of bringing it to
Len, mate, for the modern era, Len and that group he was talking about, the Chappell brothers and Lily and Tomo, they're pioneers.
We're
Rod
losing
Marsh.
so many of them now.
Yeah.
Sad.
One by one.
Sad.
Tomo's still dirty on Alan Turner for busting his shoulder.
Yeah. Who was my first grade captain, Alan Turner.
Wow.
Yeah. There's a story. I mean, we could go on for
Another
hours
2
and
hours.
On that note, look, we'll get you back for a part 2 if at some stage. But when we play this,
We're going to say thank you, Len.
Thank you, Len.
Len Pascoe. 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 Pascoe.
That's tennis.
Pascoe.
from the fence.
That's
From
tennis.
the fence, on the wire, on the fence, yeah.
Yeah, so until we're here again at Sugar Ray Studios, over and out, and see you then.